There is a currency you have been spending carelessly your entire life. You hand it over to people who dislike you, to situations that drain your energy, and to a world that constantly tries to consume it. That currency is your attention. Because it is given away so freely, it slowly loses its true value. The more you react, the more you allow others to pull your focus, the less authority you hold over your own life. Imagine how different your world could become if you started reclaiming that power. What would life look like if you only gave your attention to what truly matters, to the people and things that actually add value to your life? Stoicism teaches that mastering the mind and emotions begins with learning where to direct your attention. When you control this, you take back control over your peace, your energy, and ultimately your destiny. Imagine you are caught in a heated argument. Someone says something that instantly triggers you, and you immediately feel the urge to reply, to defend yourself, to prove you are right. But have you ever paused and wondered why? Why do their words hold such power over your emotions? It is not only the words themselves, but the meaning we assign to them and the emotions we attach to them. We react because we believe that if we stay silent, we might lose something, our dignity, our respect, or perhaps our control over the situation. But the reality is different. The moment you react impulsively, you have already given away your power. You allow the situation to dictate your emotions, your behavior, and your state of mind. Stoicism offers a simple yet profound truth. We cannot control what others do, but we always have control over how we respond. That is where real power lives, in our response. In those tense moments when everything inside us pushes us to lash out, there is a quiet strength in choosing to remain steady, choosing silence instead of reaction, choosing calm instead of chaos. Most people never realize how often they hand over their power. Think about how many times you have argued with someone about something that ultimately meant very little. Maybe it was a small comment, unnecessary criticism, or an accusation that wasn't even true. Did reacting improve the situation? Did it actually change anything? Or did it simply increase the tension? The truth is, when we react emotionally, we often pour fuel onto the fire. We become part of the drama and the chaos. But when we choose not to react, when we decide to remain calm in the middle of the storm, we interrupt that cycle. We stop feeding the conflict, and in doing so, we regain control over our emotional state. The peace you create for yourself by choosing not to respond is far more valuable than the short-lived satisfaction of proving yourself right in the moment. Think about how many times you have allowed someone else's words or actions to ruin your entire day, your mood, or your inner peace. In those moments, often without realizing it, you allowed someone else's behavior to control your emotional state. This doesn't mean you should become passive or indifferent to everything around you. It is not about becoming a doormat or allowing others to walk over you. Instead, it is about stepping back and deciding which battles deserve your attention and which ones simply do not. In Stoicism, this idea is fundamental. Not every confrontation deserves a response. Not every insult or challenge is worthy of your time or energy. The true skill lies in knowing when to engage and when to simply let go. Imagine for a moment that every time someone tries to provoke you, you respond with silence. Not because you have nothing to say, but because you understand the power of choosing the right moment. This does not mean ignoring things that truly matter or avoiding necessary conversations. Real strength comes from recognizing what deserves your attention and what does not. What you allow to occupy your mind shapes your entire experience of life. When you give attention to every insult and every criticism, you feed negativity. But when you refuse to give your attention to things that do not serve you, you build emotional strength. You create distance between your peace and the chaos of the outside world. If this idea resonates with you, consider subscribing as a step toward reclaiming control over your own mind and life. Every moment of focus you invest here becomes an investment in your personal growth. Think about the people you respect the most. What truly sets them apart? What is it about their presence that naturally commands respect? Most of the time, it is not their loud voice or their need to constantly prove themselves. Instead, it is their quiet confidence. They do not react to every small disturbance. They remain secure in who they are, grounded and steady despite the noise around them. This is the power of emotional detachment. It is the ability to observe without becoming entangled in every situation. It is not about being cold or uncaring. It is about being aware of where you choose to invest your energy. This is where the Stoic idea of virtue becomes so powerful. Virtue is not about winning every argument or proving yourself right in every discussion. It is about mastering yourself. It is about maintaining inner peace even when the world around you feels chaotic. This is the practice of strategic detachment. It does not mean running away from challenges. Instead, it means interacting with the world on your own terms, from a position of strength rather than weakness. The practice of ignoring, in essence, becomes a tool for mental freedom. It is the ability to move through life without being controlled by other people's opinions, without being pulled around by temporary emotions, and instead remaining grounded in your own principles and values. And this does not mean disconnecting from everything around you. It simply means choosing deliberately where your attention goes. You decide what deserves your energy and what is merely a distraction. The world will always present challenges. People will test your patience. Situations will push your limits. Adversity will appear in different forms. But when you learn the art of ignoring what does not deserve your attention, you are no longer a puppet reacting to external forces. You become the one in control. You become the master of your own mind, and by doing so, you begin to reclaim your real power. This level of emotional mastery doesn't happen instantly. It develops over time through self-awareness, through recognizing the moment you are about to react and choosing a different response. It requires unlearning old patterns and stepping away from the automatic reactions that once controlled you. As you move through that process, you'll notice your life becoming calmer, more focused, and far more intentional. The less you react to everything around you, the more energy you have to invest in what truly matters: your growth, your purpose, and your peace of mind. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. When you stop giving your attention to every disturbance, you regain the ability to shape your own thinking and ultimately your own reality. As you begin practicing this idea, you'll notice something powerful. The less you involve yourself in unnecessary drama, the more control you gain over your inner state. You stop reacting from weakness and start responding from strength. You begin to understand that the world will always throw things your way, but you don't have to catch them. The noise around you becomes just that: background noise, not the soundtrack of your life. Gradually, you begin to see people and situations more clearly, without the fog created by emotional reactions. In the end, the art of ignoring isn't about becoming indifferent or disconnected from life. It's about choosing where your energy goes and protecting your mental space. It's about staying present without being controlled by every passing emotion or outside trigger. It's about discovering strength in silence and peace within your own mind. When you stop reacting, you take back your power. And within that power, you discover freedom. The moment you withhold your attention, you reclaim control over your mental space. Think about it. So much of your energy is spent reacting to others. You argue, you explain, you defend, you justify. But what if none of that was necessary? What if you could step out of that endless cycle? The people who thrive on your reactions, whether through drama, insults, or constant demands for your energy, continue only because they know you will respond. They feed off your emotional reactions. But when you stop giving them that satisfaction, the pattern begins to break. The more you practice this, the more you realize how much power you had been giving away without even noticing. By pulling back your attention, you send a clear message. You don't control me. This shift is liberating not just for the person on the other side, but for you as well. When you choose silence instead of reaction, you regain a deep sense of peace. You are no longer controlled by other people's moods or words. In that freedom, your sense of self becomes stronger. It's interesting how silence is often misunderstood. Many people associate it with weakness, indifference, or avoiding confrontation. But in reality, silence can be one of the strongest tools in your emotional arsenal. People expect a response. They expect you to fight back, argue, or justify yourself. But when you refuse to engage, the entire power dynamic changes. It's not about escaping conflict, it's about choosing how you interact with it. Silence isn't running away from the challenge, it's standing firm. It's recognizing that you don't need to prove yourself to anyone. The more you practice this, the more you start noticing how people react when you don't react. They become confused. Sometimes they even become anxious. They start wondering why you aren't engaging the way they expected. And that uncertainty begins to work in your favor. When you stop reacting, you stop reinforcing their behavior. Their attempts to provoke you slowly lose their strength. The moment they realize they cannot manipulate you through words or emotions, their influence over you disappears. But there's something even deeper happening here. By withholding your attention, you're not just teaching others a lesson, you're teaching yourself something far more valuable. Every time you resist the urge to react, you prove to yourself that your peace matters more than any external drama. You strengthen your ability to remain steady. You practice emotional mastery. This is a fundamental principle within Stoicism: control over your own responses. No matter what the world throws your way, you maintain authority over how you respond to it. The more you practice this mindset, the more natural it becomes. Gradually, you stop giving energy to things that don't matter, to people who show you no respect, and to situations that only drain you. Instead, you begin reclaiming your time, your focus, and your energy. The beauty of this practice lies in its simplicity. It doesn't require dramatic action. It doesn't require clever arguments or complex strategies. Sometimes it simply requires you not to engage with what does not deserve your attention. In Stoic thinking, your mind is considered your most valuable possession. No one should have the ability to control it without your permission. When you stop reacting automatically, you assert that control. And it's important to understand that this practice isn't only about external relationships, it's also about inner mastery. Many times we seek approval or validation from others because we doubt ourselves. We allow our emotions to be shaped by how people see us or how they respond to us. But the more you withdraw your attention from distractions and outside noise, the more you begin turning inward. You begin trusting yourself more deeply. It becomes a practice of self-reliance. The Stoic philosophers understood that the secret to living a peaceful and meaningful life was not about constantly searching for the world's approval, but about aligning yourself with your own principles. When you detach from the need for external validation, your inner foundation becomes stronger. You begin defining your worth not by other people's opinions, but by the truth you know about yourself. You no longer need someone else's approval to feel at peace. You don't feel the need to prove yourself to anyone. By resisting the impulse to react, You protect your peace while also developing a deeper level of self-discipline. This goes far beyond ignoring insults or avoiding petty conflicts. It is about training your mind to remain unaffected by the noise of the world. It is about becoming so grounded in your identity that nothing easily shakes you. As Seneca once said, "We do not have a short life, but we waste much of it." When we react to every minor irritation and allow small frustrations to control our emotions, we waste valuable time and energy. Instead, our focus should be directed toward what truly matters, toward the things that help us grow and strengthen us. Every time you resist the urge to react, you reclaim a small part of yourself. Over time, you will notice that the more you practice this discipline, the less you feel the need to react at all. The less concerned you are with other people's opinions, the more freedom you gain to focus on your own path. You begin mastering your emotions, and with that mastery comes genuine strength. The reality is that people crave attention, especially those who are toxic, manipulative, or deeply insecure. It is a natural human tendency to seek validation. However, some individuals go even further. They try to gain that validation by provoking others and triggering emotional responses. When you repeatedly give them your attention, you reinforce their behavior. You unintentionally give them the ability to influence your emotional state and control your reactions. But imagine what happens if you stop. Imagine viewing their actions as nothing more than background noise. Just as you would not react to a distant dog barking somewhere far away, why should you react to someone constantly trying to provoke you for attention? The moment you stop responding and refuse to be pulled into their drama, their influence begins to fade. This does not mean ignoring people entirely or becoming passive. It simply means changing your perspective. You begin to understand that their behavior no longer has the power to disturb your inner state. When you stop reacting, you reclaim control of your energy. You stop feeding the chaos they try to create and give yourself the space necessary to experience peace. Imagine someone insults you, tries to provoke you into an argument, or plays manipulative games. In the past, you might have immediately felt the need to fight back, defend yourself, or prove them wrong. But now, instead of engaging, you simply observe. Their words pass by without affecting you, much like background noise that has no relevance to your life. Toxic individuals often try to create emotional tug-of-wars. They know exactly how to push your buttons and stir your emotions. But every time you engage, you hand them more power over your life. So what happens if you simply stop reacting? You stop feeding their need for drama. You stop validating their behavior. You remove the very thing they are seeking, your attention. And in that moment, you reclaim your power. It becomes like a game of tug-of-war, where instead of pulling harder, you simply let go of the rope. They remain holding tension while you move forward freely, no longer burdened by their manipulation. When you refuse to engage with toxic people on their terms, you begin realizing something important. You do not have to fight every battle. Not everything deserves your attention, and not every opinion deserves space in your mind. By stepping back and refusing to react, you create the room necessary to focus on what genuinely matters. You stop wasting energy on things that drain you. Instead, you invest that energy into the things that uplift you and move your life forward. Learning the art of ignoring is also learning the art of self-control. It is the ability to maintain peace even when chaos surrounds you. And this principle applies not only to toxic individuals, but also to situations, challenges, and everyday disturbances. You become calm in the middle of the storm, an unshaken anchor in a world constantly pulling for your attention. Within that calmness, you discover real strength. You stop reacting to the noise around you and begin creating your own order and purpose. This is the true power of disengaging. It is the power of reclaiming your attention and directing it toward what truly matters. You might wonder how this philosophy applies to everyday life. The answer is simple. It begins with small moments. It begins when you feel the impulse to react. When someone cuts you off in traffic, when someone makes a passive-aggressive remark, or when a colleague tries to manipulate your emotions. Instead of reacting instantly, pause. Take a breath. Choose to stay in control. Direct your attention toward your own peace and toward your own goals. The more you practice this approach, the easier it becomes. Eventually, it turns into second nature. You stop giving your attention to things that do not deserve it. You stop feeding unnecessary drama and begin living a life that truly belongs to you. This is not manipulation. It is not about playing psychological games or trying to make people chase you. It simply reflects a fundamental truth about human nature. People value what is rare. If you are always available, always responding, always giving your energy, there is nothing scarce about your presence. But when you become selective with your time and attention, when you reserve them for what truly matters, you become something rare. And naturally, people are drawn to that rarity. It is similar to why we value things that are difficult to obtain, rare gems, limited editions, or exclusive experiences. Their scarcity creates value. When you become less accessible with your time and energy, you send a clear message that they are valuable. They are not something to be taken for granted. Think of yourself like a rare jewel. Only a few people should come close enough to appreciate it. Not everyone deserves that privilege. Just like any precious thing in life, your attention should be protected and valued. This does not mean shutting people out or becoming emotionally distant. It simply means becoming more thoughtful about where your focus goes. You stop giving your energy to those who do not respect it and start investing it in those who truly do. You become intentional with where you place your attention, instead of giving it away freely to anyone who asks for it. As Carl Jung once said, "You are what you do, not what you say you will do." In the same way, your time and attention reveal who you truly are. When you give them to everyone without discernment, you send the message that they hold little value. But when you deliberately choose where to place your attention, when you reserve it for the people and situations that truly matter, you show the world that your energy has value. The real key here is respect. Respect for yourself, for your time, and for your emotional energy. It isn't about being rude or ignoring people out of bitterness. It's about understanding that your presence should be earned. You should never feel forced to give away your attention simply because someone demands it. Respecting your time means realizing that you don't owe anyone your focus unless there is something meaningful in the exchange. And when you live this way, you begin to regain control over your life and your peace. Imagine moving through life with a calm confidence, knowing you don't have to react to every person or situation that tries to pull you into their chaos. You remain in control. People begin to notice that steadiness. When they see that you aren't easily influenced or dragged into unnecessary drama, their perception of you begins to change. They start to respect you more. You are no longer just another participant in the noise of the world. Instead, you become someone who stands outside of it, steady, unaffected, and firmly in control. This shift in how you manage your attention can be truly transformative. It changes not only the way others see you, but also the way you see yourself. You stop viewing yourself as someone constantly responding to the needs and expectations of everyone else. You stop feeling like your value depends on always being available or always proving your worth. Instead, you begin to recognize that your worth is inherent. It is not determined by how much you give away, but by how intentionally you choose to give and who you choose to give it to. You don't have to be everyone's solution or the person who fixes every situation. When you hold back your attention, you create space for what genuinely matters to you. That could be your personal development, relationships that truly support and nourish you, or simply your own peace of mind. Suddenly, you have the time and energy to focus on what aligns with your values instead of being pulled in every direction. This transformation takes time. It isn't easy to stop reacting, especially if you are used to being the person who is always available, always responding, always stepping in. But with consistent practice, it becomes natural. Gradually, you start noticing a change in your life as you stop giving away your energy so freely. You feel less exhausted, less overwhelmed, and far more in control of your emotional state. And perhaps the most powerful realization is understanding how much of your energy was previously spent on people and situations that never deserved it. With that realization comes freedom. Freedom from the constant urge to react, freedom from the pressure to be everything for everyone, and with that freedom arrives a deeper, more lasting sense of peace. You begin prioritizing your energy and directing it toward what truly matters. In doing so, you not only earn respect from others, you gain respect for yourself. You start living life according to your own terms instead of constantly responding to the demands around you. Your attention belongs to you, and when you choose not to give it away, you reclaim your power. At this point, you might be thinking, what if someone genuinely needs my attention? What if they are trying to connect? It's natural to want to help or engage with people, especially those who are important in our lives. The idea of withholding attention can sometimes feel cold or even wrong. But this is where the Stoic mindset becomes incredibly valuable. According to Stoicism, true connection is not about constantly pouring your energy into others, especially when they only take and never give. True connection is built on mutual respect, respect for yourself and respect for the people around you. When you keep giving attention to those who only take, you slowly reduce your own value. But choosing to withhold your attention does not mean you are devaluing the other person. It simply means you are protecting your peace, safeguarding your mental space, and caring for your emotional well-being. Think about it this way. When you stop reacting to someone's behavior, you force them to. When you withdraw your attention from someone who has repeatedly proven to be draining or manipulative, you are not punishing them. You are simply deciding to invest your energy in places that nourish you, in relationships that are built on balance and mutual respect. As you begin practicing this, you may notice that those who once relied on your reactions start noticing your absence. They may try even harder to provoke you, hoping to trigger a response. But instead of feeling irritated or upset, you start recognizing their actions for what they truly are, an attempt to manipulate your emotions. That realization can be incredibly freeing. The more you practice not reacting, the more you begin to notice how often you may have been manipulated without even realizing it. And with that awareness comes empowerment. You begin to understand that you are the one responsible for your emotional state. You are the one who decides what deserves your attention and what does not. When you refuse to react, you stop participating in someone else's game. You remove their ability to control you. There is a quiet strength in choosing not to react. It is a form of resilience that doesn't depend on fighting back or proving a point. Instead, it grows from the understanding that your peace and energy are yours to guard. When you remain calm despite someone's attempts to provoke you, you become emotionally untouchable. You stop being a pawn in their game and start becoming the master of your own emotions. This kind of emotional mastery does not come from engaging with every situation. It comes from wisdom, the wisdom to know when to stand firm, when to remain silent, and when to step away. As you continue practicing this discipline, it gradually becomes easier. You start seeing people more clearly, without the fog of emotional reactions clouding your judgment. Every comment, criticism, or remark no longer feels like a personal attack. Instead, you begin to recognize them as external noise that has no real influence over you unless you allow it. When you stop giving people the emotional response they seek, they are left with nothing to feed on. In many cases, they are forced to face their own insecurities and behaviors. And within that silence, you begin discovering a deeper sense of peace. One of the most powerful aspects of this practice is that it is always available to you. You don't need special tools, training, or circumstances. All it requires is the decision to stop reacting, to stop feeding unnecessary drama, and to start protecting your own peace. As you practice this more often, you will notice a shift in how you feel. Instead of feeling drained by the actions of others, you begin feeling energized by the control you have over your own choices. You start recognizing that your emotional state is not determined by what happens around you, but by how you choose to respond to it. This approach is not about shutting people out or becoming emotionally cold. It is about understanding your worth, respecting your boundaries, and protecting your inner calm. When you stop giving your attention to things that don't matter, you naturally begin giving it to the things that truly do. By withholding your attention from those who constantly try to drain you, you reclaim your power. It is a simple shift, yet a powerful one, capable of transforming how you experience life. And with that power comes peace. Peace from the endless search for validation, peace from unnecessary conflict, and peace from the constant drama that once consumed your energy. Most importantly, you begin to feel peace in knowing that you control where your attention goes. The more you practice this discipline, the more you will realize that you are shaping a life that truly belongs to you. But the real power of ignoring does not apply only to other people. It also applies within yourself. Think about how often you give your attention to thoughts, fears, and insecurities that serve no real purpose. The endless stream of worries, doubts, and internal noise can be just as distracting, sometimes even more so than the external drama you try to avoid. Everyone experiences this inner dialogue, that quiet voice telling you that you are not good enough, that you might fail, or that others are silently judging you. The real problem begins when these thoughts start occupying your mental space. When that happens, you are no different from someone who constantly reacts to the chaos of the outside world. The more attention you give to those internal distractions, the more power they gain over you. The philosophers of Stoicism understood this fundamental truth. Real strength comes from controlling your internal dialogue, knowing which thoughts deserve attention and which ones should simply be released. Imagine you've just made a mistake. Maybe it's something small, maybe something bigger. Now notice how your mind responds. Do you start criticizing yourself? Do you replay the mistake again and again, making yourself feel worse each time? Perhaps you start worrying about how others see you, convincing yourself that their judgment defines your worth. This cycle of self-criticism and worry is another form of emotional reactivity. It is no different from reacting to external drama or provocation. It drains your energy and keeps you trapped in a loop of negative thinking. Instead of moving forward, you remain stuck in repeated thoughts and emotions. But imagine responding differently. Imagine choosing not to feed that cycle. What if, instead of giving your attention to every worry and doubt that appears, you simply allowed those thoughts to pass without engaging with them? Learning to ignore the distractions created by your own mind is a powerful form of emotional intelligence. It means developing the ability to step back and observe your thoughts without getting pulled into them. When you practice this consistently, navigating your inner world becomes much easier because you are no longer carried away by every negative thought or moment of self-criticism. You begin to recognize patterns in your thinking. Instead of reacting to them automatically, you simply allow them to pass. This skill is not easy to develop, and it requires patience and discipline. But over time, the mental noise that once dominated your mind begins to fade. It becomes quieter and less frequent. Slowly, you start creating room for clarity, focus, and inner calm. One of the most beautiful aspects of this practice is the freedom it brings. Much of our suffering does not come from the world itself, but from the stories we create in our minds about what is happening. We imagine the worst outcomes. We replay situations repeatedly. We fill our thoughts with endless what-if scenarios. But once you learn to ignore the mental chatter that offers no value, your focus naturally shifts to what is real, what truly matters, and what you actually have control over. You stop spending energy on things that serve no purpose. Instead, that energy begins fueling the life you want to create. This is a deeper form of freedom, the freedom to choose your thoughts, to decide where your focus belongs, and to protect your mental space. The more you practice this, the more you notice how much mental energy was once wasted on things that never deserved your attention. Think of it like clearing out a cluttered room inside your mind. When you remove unnecessary distractions, you make space for what truly matters. And with that mental clarity comes a noticeable change in everyday life. You start feeling calmer. External chaos affects you less. The opinions of others carry less weight. Your focus gradually returns to your own path. The teachings of Stoicism emphasize that a good life comes from aligning yourself with what is natural and within your control, while letting go of everything that isn't. This principle of inner control, choosing to ignore distractions that serve no purpose, is central to that philosophy. It is about living intentionally rather than being carried away by the constant noise of the world. Mastering the ability to ignore your own mental distractions is a skill that opens the door to real inner peace. It gradually makes you less reactive, more intentional, and more grounded in your personal values. When you stop allowing negativity and self-doubt to dominate your mind, something powerful happens. You create room for growth, creativity, and a deeper connection with yourself. This becomes the foundation of emotional resilience and mental strength. The ability to face challenges without feeling overwhelmed, to stay focused on what matters, and to continue moving forward with purpose. As you walk this path, you may start noticing something surprising. The world around you begins to feel different. You no longer feel controlled by outside circumstances or by the chaos of your own thoughts. Instead, you become the one directing your focus, and that control becomes the foundation for building a life that truly belongs to you. This leads to the final and most important aspect of the art of ignoring: the ability to remain present without being consumed by everything happening around you. Many people fall into the trap of reacting to everything. Everyday life becomes a whirlwind of events, opinions, and emotional demands. People, situations, and unexpected moments constantly compete for your attention. But imagine moving through life without being disturbed by all that noise. Imagine being able to decide where your energy goes instead of giving it away to every distraction that appears. That is the real power of ignoring. Ignoring is not about escaping from life or isolating yourself from the world. It is about deciding what deserves your energy. It means living fully in the present while refusing to let every external influence control your attention. When you stop chasing validation from others and start focusing on your own development, you gain a kind of strength that cannot easily be shaken. Your worth no longer depends on approval, praise, or attention from others. Instead, your sense of value begins to come from within. This realization is deeply liberating. It becomes the foundation of personal strength. Once you stop chasing approval, you are free to pursue what genuinely matters to you. You no longer feel obligated to follow expectations created by others. You define your own direction, your own goals, and your own meaning of success. As Carl Jung once said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." And becoming who you truly are begins when you learn to ignore the constant noise of the outside world and turn your focus inward toward personal growth. The world will always attempt to pull you into its chaos. There will always be people who invite you into their drama, events demanding your attention, and distractions trying to shift your focus. But when you practice the art of ignoring, you remain anchored. The key is keeping your attention on your goals and resisting the urge to react to everything around you. Like a calm ruler walking through the busy marketplace of life, you remain unbothered because you understand something powerful. You control your mind, your attention, and ultimately your destiny. This does not mean pretending that life is perfect or ignoring reality. It simply means refusing to let chaos dictate your emotions or actions. You choose where your attention goes, and by doing so, you regain control over your inner world. This is where true power lives. Not in constantly reacting to the world, but in staying grounded, steady, and focused. When you stop chasing external validation, you stop handing your power away. You regain authority over your emotions, your energy, and your decisions. You become the architect of your own destiny, and nothing outside of you can easily take that away. Like any meaningful discipline, this takes time and consistent practice. But once you begin developing it, you will notice the difference. Life feels calmer, your reactions become more controlled, and the world around you loses much of its power to disturb your peace. Of course, this does not mean becoming cold or detached from others. It simply means learning to set clear boundaries. You give your energy to what truly matters, your growth, meaningful relationships, and your purpose. And you calmly ignore everything that drains your energy, weakens your focus, or tries to pull you into unnecessary negativity. As the Stoics teach, we cannot control what happens in the world, but we can control how we respond to it. By choosing not to react, you reclaim your power, creating a life that is truly yours, a life where you remain unshaken by the chaos around you. Imagine walking through your day with this clarity and control. Imagine moving without being drawn into arguments, drama, or distractions. Imagine directing your energy only toward what serves your growth. This is the power of ignoring, not out of indifference or avoidance, but out of strength. When you learn to ignore the distractions, the noise, and the negativity, you create the space to focus on what truly matters. You become less reactive, more proactive, and intentional with your energy and attention. The beauty of this practice is that it applies to every part of your life. Whether it's dealing with difficult people, managing your time, or handling challenging situations, the art of ignoring allows you to maintain your peace while staying focused on your goals. It gives you the mental clarity to make better decisions, to stay on track, and to stop letting the world's chaos control you. You become the calm center in your own life, moving with quiet confidence, grounded in your own strength and purpose. As you continue practicing, you'll notice that you no longer need external validation. You stop reacting to every minor disturbance. Instead, you navigate life with deliberate focus, knowing that your peace, your purpose, and your energy are under your control. The more you practice, the stronger you become. You develop grace, resilience, and the ability to face life on your own terms. True power comes from within, and by mastering the art of ignoring, you gain the freedom to live life intentionally. By mastering this skill, you reclaim your power, your peace, and your focus. You stop giving your energy to noise and chaos and start living anchored in your own strength. The world will always try to pull you in different directions, but the real power lies in choosing where to invest your attention. Stay grounded, stay focused, and protect your inner world. Your time, your energy, and your attention are yours to control. Thank you for being a part of Stoic Journal. Keep walking the path of peace, purpose, and wisdom, and check out the video on the screen for more insights to continue your journey.